Barefoot Bruisers, rocking the VXC today. Hope y'all had a good week. Another Sunday sitting and bullshitting session, which is kind of the commonplace around here, right? I guess we'll just pick it up from where we had last week. So the knives that I got from Steve, I pretty much just played with them when I got to the house. You know, like these aren't knives that I want to take out. You know, they're not mine. So it's more or less just fun on them. I'm not cutting anything with them. I'm not trying to review them or nothing like that. Just thoughts at the end of the week is the Edgy American. Is that right? Edgy American? Yeah. I get confused because Edgy Blade Works, because Shane's Edgy American. I always mess it up. This one's the standout to me. Nice, thicker blade. It just has a cool feel to it. I can't remember what Steve said the scale material was. If you look back in the last video, he did comment and let me know. But the other one that like to stand out to me, that kind of sort of every time I come, you know, I bring the whole case of all four of them out, kind of play with them. This Brad Richmond, man, like I just kept coming back to it. It's not my kind of knife. Like if it was my kind of knife, it'd be much bigger. But it not being my kind of knife, and I still want to come play with it. Like if you like this style of knife, you should definitely look into getting one. I was talking to Steve earlier this week, and he's like, man, I missed the opportunity to buy one of those. I'm like, man, they're just, I don't know. We were kind of discussing it for a minute, but like certain customs, there's almost like a T1 Miller Bros. It's a one and done thing. So you get the one you like and just hold on to it, because you know you can be patient enough to find that one that just speaks to you and then get that one. And that's pretty much what I'd suggest on the Richmond. Like, I don't know how expensive they are, but to me, I mean, I guess you could have multiples of why not, right? But you know, he's probably, for me at least, if I got one of his, it'd be a one and done. But I kept coming back to that knife, so it was a good feeling knife. So I'm kind of gonna be all over the place this video, but you know, no rhyme, no reason. It's just the usual crap here. You probably see from the workbench, it's chaotic, and it started raining here the last few weeks, so allergies are kicking in. Like, so you don't know how this conversation started, but I was talking to Billy. I talk to Billy like when I get, especially like things I want to show him and just run past him, that sort of thing. Like we talk on the phone. I know he's not active on the YouTube anymore. I haven't seen anything new from his podcast either, but I talk to him, you know, still pretty regularly, I'd say. But he says I got dual ownership, so he sent back the Magnum Works that I did a while back, reblade, and the other the Encosi that started the whole CRK thing, reblade with the K390. He sent them back because he said I had dual ownership, or whatever that is when you have kids and you share the kids. Dual custody, that's what he said. Dual custody, I have dual custody. So it's kind of cool to get some reblades. I'm not that far away from where I had done these, right? Like I've only done like maybe a handful more since I've done those, but I can already feel like I've improved since I've seen those, which is a good sign for me. Like it's telling me I'm going in the right direction. Especially after I got done with the, I'm gonna call it the bougie CRK, but the more my style, probably a little more over the top than I would have done for just me, but like it's still, I'm very happy with that, the thicker Encosi that I sold a couple weeks ago. It's cool to look back at this one and see how it started. Like it's just, I don't know, it's cool. Where did the other one go? I gotta find something in a second here. Yeah, I'll do it in a second. All right, so basically this week started with two major things. So Denise had sent me a project to do, and we thought it was gonna be a reblade. We thought it was gonna be super easy. End up having problems. I'll go over that in a second. And the second one was the reblade I was gonna do for Tomas. Once again, I didn't have tooling. I needed to get certain things to make that project kind of move forward, hardware and that sort of stuff. I don't know if you can see on the corner of this, probably can't. There's a bunch of hardware right here to order. So like, you know, trying to get ducks in a row. So I wasn't able to work on anybody else's stuff like in the beginning of the week anyhow. So if you watched the Instagrams, you know I already did it, but I went ahead, the Fears for Prey, and made my full tie scale for it, so it all kind of blends together. I was trying to keep that Crusader finish, that Cerakote finish on it, but no, it ended up aluminum oxide blasting and tumbling like I do all my shit. But this one feels like a much better knife now, much more balanced. Just the way it should have been, man. I'm a full tie guy. I know I am. You know, the only thing, and I did put a little, I don't know if you saw that or not, I did put that little finger groove here and on the lock bar. I wish you could say it helped a whole lot, but on the back side for flicking it, like, it's just not, I mean, you can see I try to get in there the best I could to get it, but it works. But like, still the knife itself, being on the Nylotron, if you got it locked in tight, it doesn't work. Hell, I was going to adjust it, but if you got it in like tight, like you barely moving, like kind of like when you first get a CRK, and like that, there's no way you're flicking it. I mean, I could have put a fuller down it, but I've come to realize if I don't put the fuller in the center of the hole, it looks goofy. So if I put it up high where I can get to it, it'd be good, but down low, center line, you can see I'd barely catching it. So there's no really point of putting a fuller in it either. Aesthetically for me, I just don't want to do it. I don't think it would look right. So I'm gonna leave it as is. It's still available if you want to do it, if you want to buy or trade, but it's more expensive now. So there's that one. You know, G10's like a thing to be like, I can see liner locks, especially more these days, are more in the budget line. G10 like is not like a, people don't do G10 so show size. They want it fancier than just G10 for most, unless you're talking budget knives. So that was easy replacement on that one, and to me it looks 100% better. But the other one I had was a Treble Blade Works debt collector, and that was one that I was like, I don't know, man. Like, when I think of a depth collector, I always think of that G10, and that's just from the era, from the time, whatever else. So I really thought I was going to keep it, but after I did that one full tie, I was like, you know what? I still don't have the stuff I needed to work on anybody else's stuff. I'm gonna make myself a scale for this one. So I did. I made a full tie, and I did an experimental finish on it, and I think it came out pretty dang good, actually. So let me go ahead and show you that collector, and that's the new tie scale. Hopefully you can see the finish on it, and I have no idea how this is going to wear, but like you know, rubbing your hands on it, stuff like that, it looks like rust and stuff on there. This is just tie. There's no external coating. This is just the tie and how it came out. So you can see nothing's rubbing off. I don't know how it's going to wear. It's kind of like a bronzy thing with like rust and corrosion looking stuff on it. I think it looks bitchin'. So hopefully you guys can get a good view at it and see what I'm looking at. You can see kind of the gray marks where I've done it. The one on this one, so let's see. Yeah, so let's go back to this just to show you a different style. So it's hard to match what people do on the corners. Like, see how he chamfers all his corners. Hopefully you see all that. So I usually try to mimic what he does and try to do it my own way. And I just, on this one especially, I just basically corner rounded it. I couldn't get 100% what he was looking for, and like, it's, you know, like this, how it goes from thin to way thick right there in that corner, and then you look at mine, and like, I got to be more even. It's just how you see stuff. Like, I can't always emulate the original scale, and so this one's another one of those. Hope you can see that the corners, how he's done it. He's rounding his corners somewhat straight, and then you get other parts, and it's just how he chamfered his just didn't work for me. So I kind of did it like, I'm gonna call it blessed style, because like he lays his chamfers all out and does his chamfers all nice and neat. And I did, you know, a little bit of fudging on it because I had to make it kind of sort of match, but you can see that the chamfers on this one are much more even. Hopefully you can see all this, and more Donnie Bless style. But yeah, just playing around different finishes. So the one thing probably sticks out to you is you should have blasted that. Yeah, I was too lazy to get my blaster out. It was late when I got done. So same with the stand. I did this DSK style with just a little standoffs here. The difference between this one and DSK is, you know, he drills and taps the backside, so he can just go through with a screw, do a little spacer. I'm using actually like most of the Chinese knives have them, like a threaded barrel. It's actually a pivot, but it's a threaded barrel, and I'm using this so they lock. The pins go through the titanium, and the screws screw into the pins with a spacer around them. Hopefully that makes sense. But it's a much stronger construction now. This thing handled like dog bone before. Like it's just, you know, it wasn't like the great as far as the action stuff goes. Dog bone. I don't know what dog bone is, but I just made it up, I guess. But it didn't handle good before. You know, it's on washers, and the original washer that came in were like a bigger diameter washer. You can tell it's homemade kind of stuff. and I was miking them up, and I would think they'd all be 10 thou. No, some was 12, some was 9, some was 10 and a half. So it was like, you could tell that dude had made the washers, like straight up. So I made the washers even, and it came out, it's a little off center. Hopefully this shows you. It's a little off center, but as you tighten it or loosen it, you know, the blade will kind of move a little bit on you, but the action's good on it. This is another one I was worried about it being kind of bent, because as you shine light through it, this one was like super high on the side, so super potato chipped. So this finish is basically the stress relieving titanium. The recipe I used for the stress relief with the titanium, but it worked out, and that's a cool finish. I had shown you guys a couple pieces that I did a while back. Well, this came out of that piece, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it for a finish. But you can also notice in the back, this was the anode before. This was a bronze anode before, and it really didn't affect it. It kind of darkened it up a little bit. You can see around the edges where I had sanded, it kind of matched that same bronze. So it's a cool little darker, lighter, but this is the more showy side. I don't know, I just thought it came out nice. I'll do the same thing with this one. For sale, for trade, not cheap. So I know, like, it's not been a whole lot, you know, it's the times, not a whole lot of people buying them right now, which is cool. I'm down with that. I like the trades. The trades work good for me too. Keeps my collector in it, but I don't have to worry about spending any money. But that's one that I just can't go buy. Like, I know my buddy Jason got a deck collector. He got the newer deck collector. This is the original deck collector, and I think that's the first one I've seen for sale in eons, probably at least 5 years. So, you know, like, it's not easily replaceable. And obviously, I'm a huge fan of the VXC. This is definitely one of my favorite DSKs. So you can see size-wise. Let's just break them both out. There we go. Very similar, like profile, like handle profile style and blade shape and everything like that. I mean, they're not the same for sure, but it's definitely in that same genre. So definitely one I wouldn't mind keeping around. But if someone wants it more than I do, then we move it. All right. Let me go and talk about this one now. All right, so Phantom Steelworks, from my memory, and you know, 50-something-year-old memories ain't great. Mine wasn't great to start with, but as I've gotten older, it's gotten way worse. What I remember of the dude's name was Chris at Phantom Steelworks. He got his start before, well, Tough Thumbs was doing his videos and showing, he was the modder at the time. There wasn't a whole lot of knife modding going on at the time. Chris was the first one I know that went to the anno and started doing the carved up titanium and doing anno. And I've had at least three Satus, maybe 4, with this carved up and fancy anno. And they were really, even for today's standards, way over the top. Like, he did a great job on that stuff. So that's how he started. And then he turned into making knives. So this, I don't even know what the name of this, I think is a one-off. If I remember, Denise told me more about it, but I you know, once again, remember what she said. I'm not gonna speak for 100%. What I'm telling you is the truth, and what I'm saying is the truth. I'm not telling anything. I remember hearing something about him dying. She said she couldn't find nothing about him dying, but that he's not around anymore. So I'm not talking smack about someone who's still making. I wouldn't do that because, well, I would hope I wouldn't do it because, you know, that could be their livelihood, and people improve and people have bad days. So like, I'm just gonna tell you about what I found when I got this knife. And I think I still got it on video. If I'm not lazy or if I got time, I'll edit it in. If not, you're just gonna have to hear me say the story. But, you know, 1/4-inch pivot in this particular folder. This bling bling side was fine. Like, if you look at this, like, the hole sizes were all okay in this. The show side, a 258 pin and go in, so it's 8 thou. So this whole pivot's wiggly wobbly on this. When I took this knife apart, anyhow, I can't remember why I took it apart. She wanted me to mod it. I can't remember what she wanted originally, but this is how we found the problem. Everything was Loctited together, like super, super heavy Loctited. And I was like, all right. So like, normally when you find that much Loctite, either somebody don't know what they're doing or they're trying to hide mistakes, like screws almost stripped or, you know, something to that effect. So I was real delicate taking it apart, but these are the things I found. So there's no way to, I was going to do reblade, that's what it was. There was no way to put the proper size hole in it. Like, are you going to make a 258 pivot? Like, there's, you know, you'd have to make a whole new pivot. So it didn't make sense. Like, that point, I told her, I was like, there's no sense of moving forward in the reblade if we can't get it functional how it is. So I had to make a bushing. I had to drill that 258 hole out to 3/8 of an inch, make a bushing, so I made it out of titanium, and then put that push the bushing in there and lock it on the outside of it to that 1/2 inch pivot that was there. I know this ain't making sense to a lot of y'all, but basically had to make it's almost like if you look at like a, what do they call those pivot washer things? You know, you put the pivot in. Anyway, I'm brain farting. I got my fellow YouTuber and buddy Ken. We do the same struggle. We get on video and we're like, what is that word called? And we know it, but we just can't think of it. Dude, that's me right now. Pivot collar. There we go. See, I just had to say it long enough, stall long enough. It had a pivot. Oh, it's like almost like a pivot collar, but it's pressed in there. So what I come to find out was this hole was on this level, this hole was on that level. So that's why you drill at 258, just to kind of make them kind of meet in the middle. So this was never running true. It was always at an angle. The hole from side to side was not right. The other thing that was really bad is he used one of these standoffs, and these are just screwed in from the outside. They're not counterbored on the inside of these scales, so it's just a standoff. That was a stop pin. So those are the two major flaws I had to fix on this thing. So you see now it's got a 3/16 pin in it. I've reworked that bushing, so now it's nice and square and straight with each other, and now it works. And now the knife's basically back to where it was when it came to me, other than it functions like it should at this point. Detent's pretty nasty on this thing now. I pretty much got it dialed in good. I did have to do a little more work on the inside of it, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's it. I did put different bearings in it, and it is running on hardened washers on the outside of that bearing for the titanium because it wasn't before. I had to set the spacing again. I had to do everything, make everything right. You know how it goes. But basically, this was a custom that was sent in for a reblade, and I basically had to rebuild the knife and then start over. So, like, you know, I don't know what we're going to end up doing on this one. She originally wanted, I think, studs or something. You can kind of see where I've got it marked with the marker through there. The reason I did that is because this horn here sticks out more than normal. So as the knife comes out, you can see that whole section I marked out where basically where you can get to it, you know, in this little loop right here. It's all hidden behind that horn. It's all back in here now. So that little dot that I put on there is the closest I could get the thumb stud. So you can see that's not really good thumb stud placement. So what am I going to do for thumb studs? I put them way out here. It might work, but it's going to be way in the cutting path too, right? I don't know. It's weird. We got to kind of figure out what we want to do with it. Maybe make it flipper only. I don't think you like the way the flipper shape works. So if you're a flick backer, like a light switch, you're just not gonna like it. But if you're a push button, the thing is money. Like I like it for a push button. So it just depends on what she wants to do with it, how this knife progresses from here. This is definitely one nerve-wracking one because I have no idea how much this scale material costs, but it's way more than normal titanium. And the anodize and everything else, I had to re-counterbore to hide how off-center it was, because once I put the new hole in it aligned, you can see how off-center everything was. And same with the stop pin. Hopefully you can see that the stop pin's in there now, but you can kind of sort of see it a little skew, because trying to get these holes right and not screw the scale up, I could have drilled through the whole scale, but then it would have messed the whole finish up. That's why I was nerve-wracking. I was trying to keep the finishes. It's really working backwards, right? It's not the right way to do stuff like. But I didn't really want to refinish all this stuff or be responsible for refinishing it, and I wanted to center back something that at least looks presentable, like the way I milled this one. Hopefully you can see it. It looks kind of sort of decorative, or bougie or whatever. And it's a new pivot, by the way, too. I had to make another pivot because how he cut his pivot was instead of being nice as he had shortened the pivot, but instead of making it square, it was at an angle too. So I couldn't even use the pivot that came out of it. Just craftsmanship weren't up to par, and so I'm guessing this is like early on. Like I said, the maker's not making it anymore, so it's not like it's really affecting them. But if you are buying a Phantom Steelworks, be aware that at least at this one, the level of quality thought process wasn't really there in this one. Just to throw it out there, just in case. So that's the warning. If you want to buy a Phantom Steelworks, I would handle it, look at it before I bought it. Leave that one as is. I gotta find this other one. What did I do with it? You're going to give me a minute to find it. But as I'm talking about it, I worked it out of the trade so that the Degman, the Holy Degman I showed you last week, we turned it into a War Pig. So Red Horse Knife Works War Pig. I had seen these for years, never had one. Tomas offered it up for trade, and I was like, you know what, man, I'd like to check that thing out. Let's do that. And I had really no idea what to expect. I've seen the newer Red Horse Knife Works, and I don't know what this one era-wise, if it's the older one or newer one or whatever. I have no idea. But I wanted to kind of sort of, I was kind of sort of thinking I'd reblade this thing because there's some goofiness about this knife. The biggest thing is it's not a super long knife. It's nice and tall. I like how tall it is. But you see how big this, how from the flipper tab from here to here, how much room it takes up on the already small handle anyhow. So it really puts you back, you know. Can you get all 4 fingers on it? Yes, but you can see I'm really hanging off the knife. Like, it's not like it's super comfortable back here, like I'm, you know, half pinky on it or whatever else. If you just had that room, you know, to get the whole hand on there, you know, like, I don't know, it would feel like much better knife to me if I could get my whole hand on it. And not to mention that, but like when you go to thumb flick it, you know, like the flipper's in your way, so you gotta remove that finger to be able to thumb flick it. Finger flick it is a little easier. That works all right. But you know, this is my first experience with this. I think it's a mid-tech. I think that's what Tomas told me is a mid-tech. Outside looks already nice and finished. If you look at the inside of it, and I think I got a picture. If I'm not lazy, I'll edit it in and show you like what the insides look like. You can actually still see some of the Dicom, but they didn't clean all the Dicom off the inside of it. So it's interesting, man. Like, thought-wise, like, I don't know, like, I like it, but it's goofy at the same time. So I'm kind of torn on what to do. Like, I have several different ideas. One is the reblade. One is get rid of the flipper tab, just rock it as is. The other is to kind of reshape some of the cutouts. So if I soften this line and kind of bring it out a little bit more, and then cut that point off, and then kind of flatten this out more to give it a more neutral handle shape. Obviously remove the flipper tab. Then I can make a whole new, it'd be a new profile as far as, you know, what it looked like in here. It'll be a more neutral profile, but it'll still be a cool looking knife to me. I don't know. So I'm torn on what to do with it. So we'll do the same thing with this one, like I've been doing with the other ones. For sale or for trade. And if no one wants any of these, it's all good. Like I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to be a salesman on anything. I'm just trying to let y'all know what's available if y'all are interested in this. And I know my buddy Justin hit me up about a VX. Normally it'd be a VXP, but it's a VX hybrid because it's production parts, and he put a Damascus blade in or somewhere on there. He hit me about a trade on that, so I might hit Justin up about it. But if any of y'all are interested too, let me know. I'll connect you with Justin, show you some pictures. The other thing that me and Tomas traded was the reblade. Instead of paying for the reblade because he's got a youngin' on the way, we went ahead and traded for the, I don't know if y'all remember this one. It came from Plethora. Plethora had it all, was it purple, pink? I can't remember what color it was. And I think this might be the first knife I worked on for Tomas, blasting all that ugly anno off there. Sorry, Plethora. This one has a BGM regrind on it. So as it is, nice good regrind. Yeah, I like how he did it. It's definitely a hand ground. BGM does awesome work. If y'all don't know, that's if I was going to get a knife regrind by anybody, it would be BGM. I know there's other people out there that do regrinds and have different styles, but BGM's like a style that I can't personally emulate. Like, so that's if I was going to get someone done, I would definitely get him to do it. The thing about the regrinds in general, it changes the weight of the knife. So sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And this particular one is good because the knife's a little bit thinner, a little bit more light with some of the titanium cut out in the backside, so the weight's, you know, a little bit different. So it kind of sort of made it okay to take a little material off, and it still worked out all right. Some of these I've done, you know, deeper hollow grounds on, and it just takes too much weight out of the blade and it doesn't feel like the same knife. This one still feels like the same knife to me. Now I'm not done with the reblade services, and I probably have to owe them some money on top of this one, but eventually this will be a for sale for trade too, and if no one wants it, then I'll do a reblade on this one and try to move it that way. Future projects, that sort of thing. I had one more to show you. Give me half a second, let me see if I can find it. And of course, it was sitting right there behind their other stuff. This is another one that she sent in just check out, but it's gonna end up being work too, and I'll explain in a second, but this is one I was interested in, but then once I got it, I was like, oh, it's different than I thought it was. So chop knives. This is an older build. His new stuff's a little fancier than this, and quite honestly, not really to my taste as much as the older stuff is. Like, I like the style of this one much better. If it was full tie, obviously I'd like it better. And it's thinner this way. This way, I would thought it was thicker. The blades, it kind of reminds me of the proportions of like SMF. So like, you know, the blades thick, but the sides are still kind of fairly thinnish. So that I'll get a lot of that SMF kind of feel with it. Like you guys that like EDC thinner knives might like this one. I give it a big thumbs up for the blade shape or for the blade thickness, but the tie itself is a little bit thinner than what I like. But you can see it's got pretty good action. It's pretty good, and I think she wants this one on washers because when it first came to me, it was looser than it should have been, and it was dropping like ridiculous. The other problem this one is really only one screw over here is holding it in. These are just barely holding it in. So same thing. Somebody Loctited the crap out of it, sold it to her. I hate that she keeps getting stuff like this, but it worked. And then on the frame too. So you know, obviously the scales are screwed to this liner, and the liner screws to here. So the bolts had backing out there. So they Loctited the shit out of these, but didn't Loctite those at all. So there's some stuff to fix in there. Either got to re-drill and tap, or get different screws. Or both. You know, I don't know what the solution for this is, but the chop knives, I think it's called the Beowulf, if I'm not mistaken. So I heard this maker talking about he leaves his tips, you know, fairly thick, and then his grinds back here being slicey. And I don't know that this is what he currently does or what he doesn't do. I don't know if it's all handmade, if he does jig. I don't know any of that stuff. I just know from what I got in my hands, it's very well built. Like I can't fault the build quality of it at all. Other than the 256 screws that are everywhere in this thing, which is used to be the standard. Everybody liked them. I've never liked 256 screws. The only thing I use those for is lock bar inserts, because I can't get anything better for a lock bar insert. Other than that, like, I got no use for a 256. Like I honestly hate 256s. I think the minimum screws should be 440 personally, but that's just me personal. I hate the little screws, and you know, big hands, little screws have never been fun anyhow. But quality's there in this one. It's just not a me knife. Like, I thought it would be more of what I liked. I thought once I got it in the hand, I'd be like, oh, I gotta give me a chop. But like, I don't think so, man. Like, just not for me. Like, you know, everybody's got different styles. Nothing against the maker. I even like the style of the knife. It's just overall, I don't know. it ain't gelling with me, man. Some do, some don't. You know, like, that's just how it works. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. With this one, we'll see what we end up doing to fixing it up. But I figured I'd just, you know, throw that out there, because this is one I know that a few of us have talked about what these knives are like. But I haven't had one in hand. I can tell you right now that it's not for me. But if you like the size of an SMF, this is bigger than an SMF. But if you like the thicknesses of the SMF, the kind of sort of heavier blade with thinner titanium, I tend to like all the same thickness. Let's just get this Red Horse Knife Works. So, you know, blades thick, but the titanium's good and thick. That's the one thing I do love about this one. Is a nice little chunky guy. That's more my style. We're all into different stuff. I know I've rambled a ton. Probably showed you, you know, I don't know. Rambled on, I guess, long enough. Let's see if I'm not lazy and edit this thing, or if I just throw it out there as is. I guess the time will tell. All right, y'all be cool. See you next week. Later, guys and gals.